Okay, back with another WeatherXM update with Manos. Manos, thanks for coming on and making the time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's always good to see what's going on. So there's a ton of questions in Discord about the whole when thing, when mainnet, when launch, when whatever. Walk me through what's going on there or whatever you can share.
Yeah, so we really struggled with this topic. We're trying to find a balance between transparency and negotiation in the business, things that are taking place. So let me explain, let me unpack a little bit more here. So as you may have seen, there's a lot of, development work that is taking place in the project, and we are trying to build a lot of things in parallel. So there's the hardware, the Web 2 centralized infrastructure, and the weather analytics and so on. But at the same time, we're doing a lot of work on the Web 3 domain as well. So we raised 5 million 2 years ago. We grew the team to 25 people, but apparently that's not enough for what we're trying to achieve here. So we decided a couple of months ago that we need to raise again. So we started doing another fundraise round. We estimated that it shouldn't take more than a month, but obviously it has taken us longer. And we're like in this point where every week we think we're almost there, but it's like 2 more weeks, and it's a little bit like COVID lockdowns.
Yeah. No, and I get that it's frustrating to the team. I get it's frustrating on both sides to kind of figure out like how much you share. And I do appreciate the transparency, the balance between transparency and business. I guess the big question is, as you raise this, as you do this fundraise, how does that affect the weather station owner? Are they going to lose any tokens because you're bringing in more investors? What does that mean to the average weather station owner?
No, this is a good thing. I mean, we're growing the team, so we're securing the project.
Yeah.
So we can we can have a longer runway. So it's definitely a good thing. It has nothing to do with tokens. Rewards for weather station owners are that have been set in the tokenomics to be 55% of the max supply, 55 million tokens in the next 10 years. There's nothing changing in tokenomics overall or in the rewards at all.
Okay, cool. That's super good to hear. I guess the big question is why has this been such a secret? It seems like it's like a simple thing. Walk me through what you're thinking and why it went the way it did.
So, when you start fundraising, there's a ton of NDAs that go back and forth. And actually some people figured it out in the Discord discussions. So yeah, we have a clever community. So, and basically that's why we cannot disclose more information about it at this point. Obviously, eventually it will be obvious what was going on, but we cannot discuss about it today.
Got it. And I think that one of the contrasts here between a normal Web 2 business is that they wouldn't talk about it at all. It wouldn't even be on the table. And so I think it's a really good sign to see the Web3 businesses really negotiating this kind of balancing act between transparency with the community, which is what you want, and also making sure you keep the business interests of the project in mind so that the project is viable. So I think you guys are doing a pretty good job of a really difficult balancing act. So I appreciate you coming out with this piece. Cool. Let's see. So we met at ETH Denver. That was the last time we got to talk and hang out. You did something with Filecoin there. Tell me what was going on at ETH Denver.
Yeah. So there was in one of the dipping tracks there, we did a few presentations with Tableland, Ceramic, and Demo. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I presented there the work that we've done about managing the weather data, the raw weather data in Filecoin, and using decentralized computer data from a project called Bacalao to run the quality of data scores, basically. So the quality of data validations. So I think this is super important. It might sound like a small detail to some people, but it's important for a Deepin project to have transparency on the reward mechanism and provide tools to the community that they can, run the same calculations again. I mean, in the ideal scenario here would be the project to behave like a DeFi protocol, basically. But this is so difficult for a project that has that has hardware in it. So you can see it in most of the different projects. there's always a centralized element there, or a huge
Yep.
part of the project that is centralized. So we're trying to do our best, um, you know, to bring transparency and from an engineering perspective as well, to the extent that is possible with today's technology. So this has always been the goal of the project. We should be at some point in the future, we should be in a position that the network does not depend on the company any longer, and
Yep.
it's sustainable and autonomous, and it doesn't need the infrastructure that the company is providing, basically.
Yeah. And I mean, super cool to see that you guys are doing this and saying, look, here's the reward system. I don't know that there's other projects doing the same thing where it's like anyone can take this reward system, calculate it exactly to what each individual user is getting, and just make sure that you guys are doing what you're saying you're doing. I think that is the promise of Web3. And I can't imagine that's an easy task to do. So good job. All right, let's see. We've got a couple questions from Discord users. I think CryptoBuntu hasn't gotten their Wi-Fi station yet. Are you holding it in your office? You holding it hostage? What's going on with these Wi-Fi stations?
So I don't know the specific case, but
Sure.
I know what's going on in general. So I think a couple of weeks ago, we ran out of stock in the US variation of the Wi-Fi product.
Yep.
We're near the end of the stock for the European version as well.
Yep.
And at the same time, we have been working on a new Wi-Fi version that has quite a few changes. So we moved the GPS to the outdoor sensor, so the users don't no longer have to do this annoying antennas near the
Yep.
window kind of thing. We switched the RF communication from GFSK to LoRa, so the range extends between the outdoor unit and the indoor unit.
Nice.
And we'll also increase the screen size. So there's a lot of improvements that has taken place in the Wi-Fi product. We're currently manufacturing 3,000 units, so we expect to have them roughly in a month or so. So we're unfortunately, we didn't manage to finish the R&D in time, so
Sure.
we can put the production before we run out of stock. So there's going to be a small period where we cannot ship Wi-Fi product. The Helium product is still in stock, so get that while you can. And then we're shipping the 4G afterwards, and we have some new exciting products that will follow after that.
Cool. And I think we'll talk about that in the next episode with Nikos. We'll do some deep dive stuff into the hardware.
You should. Absolutely.
The other thing that I see a bunch, and I saw this, my buddy 619 OTA, who's here in San Diego, is asking about this, is he's worried about gas fees. We've all, I think most of us have interacted with the Ethereum ecosystem, and we're used to like $112 for some crazy swap. Walk me through like gas fees for interacting with WeatherXM and how L1 is different than L2 when it comes to fees.
So remember, we used to be in Polygon. We moved to Arbitrum, but the token genesis took place in Ethereum mainnet. So I know this is all confusing, but basically we have a completely Ethereum compatible ERC20 token that was born in the Ethereum mainnet. However, all the community rewards, the 55 million tokens, we have bridged them over to Arbitrum. So everything that has to do with the community takes place in Arbitrum. So Arbitrum is a layer 2. The fees are dramatically lower there. They're only a couple of cents. And with the latest upgrade, the blobs upgrade, they're even lower. So we don't expect to have, to pay more than 1 or 2 cents in the future in order to claim your rewards. And again, the claiming of the rewards doesn't have to happen on a daily basis. Anyone can do it whenever they want. So I think we have optimized it very nicely and prepared very nicely for a huge scale. Because any other approach would mean substantially more fees that the network would have to cover. Right now, the fees are minimum, and they are covered by each individual when they want to do their claim.
And we just checked this to do a transaction right before we started recording. It was 1 penny. So I think It is confusing with Ethereum being super expensive for so long for so many people. That's an L1. We're on an L2 with its own kind of set of fee structure, and it's significantly less than the DeFi degens are used to. So that's good. Super cool. Well, I think that's a ton of news for people to digest. Manos, thanks a ton for coming on and making the time to share what's going on. I know we're going to plan on doing more of these more frequently, so excited to keep the community posted on what's going on with WeatherXM. Thanks, man.
Thank you.